Hi, and welcome to the What's New webinar for the June 2021 product release. I'm Jamie Klotz, and today I'll be joined by Mary Pat Haljoff, our product manager, and Annika Harvey, our senior product marketing manager. We're excited to go through some of the enhancements we have made in our June release. As we've talked about in previous months, we focus our releases on the core elements of the application. So we'll talk through all the enhancements made in our core solution, in reporting, and also in our ecosystem. This month was really focused on continually enhancing what we've already put out. We never want to put out features and then leave them there and not update them. We value our customers' feedback, and we are constantly talking to all of you to make sure that we continue to add enhancements that increase the usability of our products. So this month, we'll walk you through a handful of the things that we've released. In our core solution, we've released features that allow you to mark a labor code as taxable, auto-select categories as taxable on an invoice, and we've given more options in the time format for our timesheet settings to accommodate how different people track their time. In addition, for reporting, we've allowed group and subtotals on the vendor bill reference number field. And in our ecosystems and integrations, we've added the Big Time ID with the HubSpot integration. Again, continually moving these integrations forward. So with that, I will turn it over to Mary Pat to really walk through each feature with you.
Thanks, Jamie. So the first two updates I'll cover today have to do with labor codes and expense codes and marking them as taxable. Then how they relate back to your invoices if you're using the single invoice rate tax style. So the first one we'll go over is being able to mark the labor code as taxable. So when you do this, and then anytime you are subtotaling your invoices by labor code, or you may also refer to them as categories in your firm, then that line item will automatically be marked as tax. Again, this only applies to the single invoice rate style. So you can see in this example, I've marked this business dev labor code as taxable. I've created an invoice over here and subtotal that by those labor codes, and it's automatically marking that item as taxable. So this feature is the same thing, but with expense codes. So if an expense code is marked as taxable, then when subtotaling by category, that line item will also be marked as taxed. So you can see here, I've marked the fees legal category expense code as taxed. And then over here on the right, I've subtotaled this invoice by that labor code or category, and it's automatically marking that expense code as taxed. The next update is around the timesheets. So we are now offering the ability to either have your staffers enter their time in a decimal format or in a minutes format. So the default option is the decimal format. So that's what you are typically used to. But now we're offering the ability to also change that format to enter it in that minutes format. So a system administrator will be able to click into that settings or cog icon on the timesheet and then change that selection on the timesheets. A couple things to note is the user, if you are entering it with minutes, the user will enter their time in minutes, but we'll actually store the time on the back end as the decimal in either case. So anywhere you would edit a time entry or enter the time on the actual timesheet, you'd be entering it in that minutes format if that was your selection. But anywhere the actual time is displayed, so on a report, in approvals, on the invoices, it'll appear as the decimal format. So you can see here, there's the additional setting for that time format. And then over here on the timesheet, this is how it'll actually appear. Next is with reporting. So in our last release, we added the ability to create vendor bills based on the staffer's time. So if you are utilizing that feature, we have some fields in reporting in regards to that. So what we did is just further enhance that reference number field. So you have the option to also group or subtotal your report by that reference number, just making it easier to group and view your times that are time entries that are being posted and created into a bill. And finally, with the integrations and ecosystem, if you are a firm that is using our HubSpot integration, we've added a setting to use the Big Time ID with that HubSpot integration. So when you import a deal from HubSpot into Big Time, the project automatically gets created. So you can determine if you want the Big Time project ID to be created for that project, or if you want to import that deal ID as the project ID in Big Time. So there's a new setting here within the integration settings with HubSpot. So if you were to choose the Big Time project ID, that means it will just apply whatever the next project number is from that auto numbering format that you set up in your firm. If you don't have an auto numbering format set up, it'll just pull in whatever the next available number is for the project ID. So that wraps up our updates for the June release. Thanks again for taking the time to listen in on our updates this month. Now I will turn it over to Annika, who will talk about what's next and how to contact us with any questions about what was covered today.
Thanks, Mary Pat. That's it for today. We're excited about what we were able to release in June, and we're looking forward to what's to come in July. So be sure to check back with us next month for our next What's New webinar. In the meantime, you can contact us with any feedback, questions, or concerns at product@bigtime.net. And in addition to that, we wanted to remind you about our new In the Know educational series, which is a series of classes on different subjects such as invoicing, reporting, and more at 101, 201, and 301 levels, including opportunities for certification. We have our second round of invoicing classes coming up, as well as classes on project management and budgets and allocations. So make sure you register for those, and you can always visit us at get.bigtime.net/education for a complete list of upcoming classes. Thanks.